I'm Tasha. Welcome back to the Dear Ninja Girl podcast. On today's episode, we have awesome guests with us today, and we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. Today, we're going to be having bold conversations, and we're going to be tackling and addressing taboo topics and challenging cultural norms. Are you ready? Stay with us. So we're going to be having a very swell time and awesome conversations. But first of all, before we get started, let me introduce my guests to you. Here we have
Damilola
and
Messi.
Oh, Damilola and Messi. It sounded like a really nice is this slogan they call it? Or team, this thing that they have for weddings. They say AK Love Story 2024. Dami and Messi. It sounds really cool. So let's get started. I'll start with Mercy.
Okay.
And we hope Mercy has mercy on Dami today. Because I'm literally the only man on the show today. So, okay. So let's start. Today we're going to be addressing taboo topics, right? And before we start breaking it down into how it affects or how it, amplifies societal norms, I just want us to mention the topics. For me, one of the conversations that I have a problem with, this one's very personal, Sha, because is the conversation of periods. So the other day on Twitter, I saw some men talking about how women exaggerate period symptoms. And I tried my best, my very best, because whenever you respond to those kind of tweets, they say you're reacting. They're always reacting.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to be feminist, you all get triggered.
Yeah, that's true.
And they always know what they are doing. I did not talk, I just slide and pass. And I say that because most times, even some people around me tend to think that I exaggerate my symptoms because maybe today I'm in so much pain. Tomorrow I'm trying my best to function as a human being. But they don't understand that it takes almost every single strength that I have to be able to function with that pain. So the fact that you see me functioning does not mean I'm not in pain. It just means that I don't want to talk about it anymore because you seem to assume that I'm exaggerating those symptoms.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting because when I first started seeing my period, I didn't used to have pains. Like it was a breeze. Just my period was 3 days and it was just a breeze. Then I have two younger sisters that started their period really close to when I did. I started my period quite late. I think I was 17, maybe 18 when the period first came. And most people didn't know. I didn't feel those telling them. But all my friends had started having their periods. I was in SS3 when I had my first period. And it was really cool. I think it was the same year my two younger sisters started. So if I had waited or if my biological clock didn't clock at the time it did, I would have, I had it after theirs. So they started theirs and theirs was painful. I didn't understand this because anytime people explain, oh my god, I'm having to roll on the floor, I'm like,
you feel like why
because I didn't understand it. Then the last sister had hers and she had hers for 3 days, but then it was mad. Then she had to be rushed to the hospital for that. Like any illness that is existing in her body would come out.
Wow.
Just because she's having periods. It just be one of those things. It could be typhoid, it could be malaria, it could be anything. As far as it's just present. At that month, when it's coming, it comes with it. So basically that was how hard. So it was somehow for me because I didn't understand it. 3 days and I did. So I would to some extent understand when a man that doesn't even see his period would say, oh, we are exaggerating. But then my issue is, when somebody explains it to you, and you now keep doubling down like, I don't know, like now you have a problem.
You have a very big issue.
Yes.
Because me as well, when I started mine, I didn't know what period pain was until I turned 25. I think, or 24.
Yeah.
And so it was very foreign to me.
Yeah.
So, and the first time I had the period pain, I was like, oh, God is punishing me. All those times my cousin was rolling on the floor and I was laughing.
Yeah.
And I was telling my cousins that let's do drama, that we're doing deliverance for her. She's rolling. all those times where she screams, like anytime she's having her period, the entire block of flats, we had like 8 blocks, no. She would scream, nobody can sleep because she was in pain. We'll do tea, they'll do tea for her, they'll give her Lipton. And to be honest, I was like, I think 12 then, and I felt like that was the height of being taken care of, because Lipton for us back then was like a sought after beverage. Yes, and nobody will give you.
Yes,
so every time we see them giving her this, we were like, ha, period pain. When are we having our own? So we did not know. Oh my God. So we did not know. And I need men to be more, I wouldn't say compassionate. I need men to be more of a mind your business thing.
I feel like I feel like this is very important, because as you grow older, even let me just give you a very clear example. You know how you say, oh my God, I'm from a very poor background, and then when you get to 30, people are like, man, you can't keep giving that as an excuse. You're grown now. That's the same thing, the same mindset I would want us to use in this kind of scenario. Like, okay, see, you didn't know.
No problem.
Now you know.
So what will you do?
So what are you still doing? Like, why are you still saying what you're saying?
Do you
now
understand?
You know. That's the issue. So yeah.
So what's the issue?
Well, first, I think for most men, myself included, period, the first thing that comes to your head is obviously blood. So you get to see blood, or that's the thought that enters your head. So you try to avoid it as much as possible. Secondly, I think it's what you guys have said. We don't experience it. We don't know what it is like, so we can never understand it. And thirdly, we don't want to understand it because some people, how would I put it? Some people feel that their girlfriends or their wives are using it as an excuse to same thing that they do with pregnancy hormones. Because men just say that, some people say that, these women are exaggerating because it's something we don't understand, something we never experience. So they feel, I'm not saying they feel like it's something that they are using to get favors or get preferential treatment.
So let me give you men an example, right? It's like when men say, oh, that they are men, they have all this pressure.
This is exactly what I wanted to say.
Exactly, they have all this pressure to perform, to do, to be someone, to do all that. You guys are thinking of 20 billion things and all those.
Yes.
You don't see women hating on you for it. You don't see us saying men are exaggerating. There's nobody pressuring you. Do you understand? There's nobody pressuring you. Which one are you saying that you have responsibility? We don't dismiss you.
Yes,
and it's one of the things that icks me about this thing, where men come out to say, oh, Nigerian women and swollen nose and getting darker and all that. Are you people the only pregnant people in the world? And then they will bring a video of one random white woman who probably doesn't have that much of challenges, and then come and say, oh yes, look at your mates now and all those things. It's very annoying, right? Even if the person is exaggerating it, to be very honest, they have earned the right to. It's a pain that you cannot tell people how to manage, how to explain it, how to handle it, how to, like, it's not in your place for you guys to do that. Sure you get, right? But let me allow Mercy to have Mercy.
But then what I wanted to say, to add to what she just said, is that I think that one thing I've learned these past few years is that I feel like a lot of women feel because we give men grace, we expect the same thing. I remember one time I was dating someone.
Honey, yes.
I remember one time I was dating someone and the person was demanding certain things that I knew I wasn't comfortable with. And then I would, like, later after I was like, let me just try and do. So then I'll try and then I'll say, but you didn't do my own. And then the person will now say, you shouldn't do it because
I did it.
Forcing you to do it or expect anything in return.
Yes.
And then the same clock, I was like, wait, because I am giving this person leeway, or because I'm letting the person go, does not mean that I would expect the person to let me. So in essence, what I should do is that I shouldn't let the person just go like that. If I'm not okay with something, I should. If I'm not okay with something, I should go ahead to say, oh, I'm not okay with this.
Yes.
You know why? Because what it causes is resentment. Like right now, I see that a lot of times women will sit around and say, oh, I don't like it when a man does this. I'm looking, okay, let's give you a very simple example. The discussion of cheating. And they're like, oh, men are allowed to do that. And I sit down and say, who is allowing them?
It's you.
You are. So if you allow them to do it, and then you now turn around and say, oh, but if I do my own, they'll kick me out. Why not just kick him out and see?
The most annoying.
Do you understand me? Kick him out
that allow them to do it.
Because you allow them to do it.
And try to condition other people to allow them to do it.
So you allow them to do something. You give them go ahead whenever they say, oh, I have to go out and work. It's so difficult having to manage it home, blah, blah, blah. They do it. But then I turn around and see you, being a boss at work. You come home, you still do your house chores, you're still able to fend for your kids, you still do assignments, you still do market runs, you don't even have a help in the house, and you're complaining that, oh, the man isn't helping you. You are letting him not help you because you are comfortable in where you are. You can't complain when you've let things go the way it is. You understand? So that's exactly what I think. So whenever somebody comes in and complains, I wouldn't do it to people that obviously are not close to me. I would only do it to people that are close to me. Those are people that concern me. So whenever I with someone, my significant other, I would usually request for certain things that I know that if the tables
were turned,
yes, you understand. So what I'm comfortable accepting is what I'm okay, yeah. And there are certain things that some people would say, and I'm not. You're too strict. I'm not strict. I just know that deep down in my heart,
you know what
there's no need
to set those standards for yourself.
There's no need. It's not even a thing of fight. We're not fighting.
I learned it.
I don't want. It's okay. You can go.
I learned it the hard way, and it's very sad that I learned it the hard way. For the longest, I am somebody that loves people beyond and within my capacity. I will love you more than the way I expect you to love me. And when I say love, it's not in the sense of the feelings, it's in the sense of the actions. I do things that I know that I want you to do for me. Do you understand? And I give people grace because I expect more of people. And I believe that with the kind of pedestal that I've put you on, you'll be able to meet that standard of which my grace is at. Do you understand? Yeah. So, but every time they fail to love me the way that I expect to be loved, they keep breaking my heart. But every time I try to explain, this thing you're doing is hurting me because I know I would never do that to you. It's why I tell people that the biggest form of love is consideration. When you want to do something and you consider, if I do this thing, how would this person feel? If this person does this to me, how would I feel? Do you understand? Consideration. So when people don't consider me and they don't love me the way I want them to love me, they love me in a nonchalant, barest minimum kind of vibe, and they believe that the grace that I have for them should be able to cover that.
Yes.
One day, I sat down and I really, really thought to myself. In fact, I went back to my Instagram page. I literally went back to every advice that I have put out in the past 2 years, and I read this thing and I said, this thing came from within you and you cannot be giving what is not inside of you. This thing you're doing is out of body. It's something that is not supposed to be with you. And the more you keep giving people grace, the more you keep telling them that they can love you at the barest minimum.
Exactly.
And I literally cried and I prayed. And I'm not one to come and tell you after I've told you something severally that this is what I've now decided to do about this thing. No. When I used to tell you this thing you're doing is not good, I'll start doing this thing. Once I've made my decision to put you in the place that you've put me in your life, I will not inform you. It might even take you a while to see it.
Yeah.
But you will see it. You will see it at some point that this one does not send your papa again.
Can I just add to it? So that's exactly the definition of self-love. And I would want, because whenever you give advice, you're also giving to yourself as well. Other people and myself as well, to see self-love as, for a very clear example is, you don't like something and this thing is being done to you again. But because you want something out of it, or you feel like, oh, you should, because we're in society that you're used to, you go ahead and accept it. And then you now come back weeks later and you see that, oh, this thing that you did, this person that you did it for won't even do it for you. Like, they won't even look your side safe. So that's exactly what self-love is. It's like, you can't be giving people grace way more than you even give yourself.
Yes.
Because the Bible says, Sorry to bring the Bible into
No,
it.
please.
You're supposed
Bring
to
the
love
Bible.
your neighbor like yourself.
Mhm.
You can't love your neighbor way more than yourself, because how exactly do you... The first person you love is yourself now. You won't want to cut yourself.
If
You
you
want
don't
to
love
hurt
yourself enough, you won't
yourself.
love your neighbor.
And you need to be considerate about the things that you like.
Mhm.
I'm at the age of getting married. And anytime I speak on my choices and everything, my mom and my older sister will always say, "Oh, you're so strict." And I was like, the things I desire are not even so much. That's to be very honest. Because one thing I know is that I'm considering the fact that I can break my back for the man I'm getting married to. I know that I will look stupid in the love that I'm going to do. So how about I find somebody to match that energy before the stupidity really shows?
Let us be stupid together.
Yes, that's exactly how I would think I would imagine it. Because I know, like, based on past experience, I've always been in a situation where I would just be fooling myself. Like, I'd be like, no, give me a second chance, give me a fair chance, give me another one, and again and again.
It will change.
Yes, and I'll be reading, meaning, you know how you'll be like, oh, he stood up, that means he likes me. You get those crazy
You will start scoring him by the various things.
So
that
why
do.
not demand for the things that you want, you truly desire, and you really, really deep down in your mind like, when your eyes is clear? Do you get? So that's basically how self-love is for me. It's so important. Like, do you know what it means to actually love another person? Like, the person will call you in the middle of the night and you'll be like, don't, I'm not sleeping. I'm awake. What are you saying?
You will spend how many
so
hours on
imagine giving that same grace. It would make you look selfish. And people would be like, what's wrong with you? But that is exactly what you need for respect to come.
But I'm sorry, I don't believe that there is any form of selflessness that would come without selfishness.
Obviously.
But people don't understand that when you say selfish, everybody just sees it as a bad word. It is not. I always urge women to be as selfish as men are with themselves. Men are extremely selfish, and I truly admire that about them.
Yes. Very selfish.
But why?
Very self-absorbed. I will use self-absorbed more than self-selfish. Because as a man, when you are brought up, you are taught that you should have principles. These are the principles these principles make you a man. And so when choosing a partner, when you are dating, you try to apply those principles to people you are dating. If you cheat on men, it's over. Because the thought process, and it's not even just you as a person, as a man, it's also how other people would see it. You that you are cheated on, your guy friends will make fun of you. If you stay with that kind of a partner. The guy friends, even if you have stayed with that partner, your guy friends will make fun of you, in essence. So, selfishness is something, at least for men in terms of dating, is something that is very, very good. Bringing back to what you said, I want to make that on simping. You know, we always have a negative connotation to it, especially online. For me, simping is not bad. If both of you are simping for each other.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Simping is not, it's only when one person is simping and the other person is not interested.
Simping is a word men made up to mock other men that love selflessly. And the majority of the men fall for it and try to do what the whole hard
because, like you said, you know how I personally
know that simps are not guys that actually love their women selflessly. Simps are those guys that disguise as for macho people and date multiple women to seem like a guy's guy. Those are the simps.
Simps are also guys
true, because they're pandering to their fellow guys.
They also pander to women too.
Thank you. Pandering, that's what I'll call it. Yes. Men that pander to men.
And women. They pander to men in a specific setting. Their friends and the people around them. And they pander to women in another setting, whether online, whether through Instagram. They have a way of disguising themselves in such a way that they appear well to specific people. People like that have different
I have an example. And that brings me to the second taboo topic I want to talk about. So, my second taboo topic, this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion. But can we talk about the pandemic of the men that, I won't use the word pander to women, those fake male feminists. And as graciously as one of my community members taught me, we do not have anything as a male feminist. We have feminist allies that are men. Those ones that say that they are male feminists, especially on that Twitter, can we talk about them? E.g., I'm going to call names down. That's how Solomon Bucci started.
Where he is now.
Started. said he was a feminist for years, pandered to women, talking this, talking that, and then started begging money, and they were giving him. Somebody actually bought this guy guitars worth of thousands of dollars. Literally. And then he turned around, found a woman that did not actually know his history. Literally, when people were trying to expose this guy, he was deleting and deleting. When he realized that you can only delete so much, my guy shut down his account. And then when he realized that I need money from this account, he now came back and reopened it. Literally. It was an entire thing that lasted for like 2 years. And he's not the only one. There are lots of these men that build their brands around being supportive of women. Meanwhile, they are actually not. Most of the times they expose them in real life. Most of the times they don't expose them in real life. And, they do this for a long time. And then when they get whatever it is that they were looking for in the first place, they will now change their mouth. Now, people are allowed to change their thinking, their mentality. You're not supposed to be static for the rest of your life. I understand that. But intentionally,
this is criminal. this is criminal. That's a criminal there.
I have something to say about that. The first thing I would say is, in my opinion, from my experience in doing marketing and the rest, nobody stands or fans harder than women.
I'm telling you.
Women will literally spend their money, build your brand. The Kardashians know it. A key example is also Matt Rife. If you know about Matt Rife, the comedian, one fine pretty boy like this that blew up that female support.
They were exposing him recently, right?
Yes, now he did a stand-up recently where he did the R joke about women, and the women turned on him. Basically, he wanted to pound out to men. He was even saying it in interviews that he built his brand of female fans, but he wishes
now he wants to diversify, and now he's now flinging the women to wolves.
Because he said this is what he said. He said women bring their boyfriends to my show, and the boyfriends I initially don't want to be there. So when I do my stand up, the boyfriends are actually he's actually fun. He's actually kind of funny. So that's who I want to reach as well. He wants to reach out to those men because it's the women that bring those boys to the shows. Women pay to fill up his seats. He sells out stadiums. He's a comedian. He does crowd work, and at least I'm not sure about now, but his initial fans were women. I know, in my own opinion,
even during his stand-up,
my minimal
he
years
has
is
one on Netflix, right?
He's the one on Netflix.
And even on that one, literally the entire first 10 roles are women.
Yes.
And I'm sure the reason why I could only note that first 10 roles are because that's the only one I could see.
See, I feel like the problem with these two people that you guys just highlighted is the fact that I feel like those people are criminals. To be honest, that's how I feel, because
they should be arrested, please.
There's no way that I would like something before and then turn around and hate it completely to the point where I want to be burnt. And that's it. There's the point where you can tilt your brand. And yes, you can rebrand yourself and look more masculine.
You can even merge your brand.
Yes, it's just like somebody that was singing secular music and decided, I want to sing gospel. That doesn't mean that people that listen to secular music will listen to my gospel song. Do you understand? I would like it, let them follow me to Christ. Do you get, as opposed to now you saying, I don't want to have anything to do with you guys, or like make you guys feel like you're less than human. You're a criminal.
It's like Beyonce.
That
woman has.
It's like anytime.
Can move your brand.
Thank you. Like anytime you want to say something, if it's music you want to, or what's it called, your actors, the comedy, there's nothing bad if you do your acts or your set to cater to the male audience. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can even sell it like marketing strategy so that it will entice men. That's fine. That does not mean that you can't insult the people that help you to find. I don't understand. Like,
this one is not like the insult was like. So it's like, okay, but like, which day was that? I think that was yesterday. He made a tweet saying that he used to follow TD Jakes, like, he used to follow him religiously.
TD
Jakes.
Solomon.
Okay, Solomon.
Listen to his watch his videos, listen to his audios, read his books, all those things. And then he said, what did he even say TD Jakes did? And then he realized that TD Jakes is an inspirational speaker and not a pastor. And then he stopped following him. And literally went on a tirade of like bashing different
other men of God.
I'm telling you.
So, but
like,
you know that
it's like an
this
entire
Bashment
thing.
of God is something that is trending now.
That's
So
right.
basically what he
What he
telling
does
me
is
now is
trending
that
things.
he jumps on trendy topics regardless of how it makes his brand look. Like essentially his brand is, I'm going to speak to power. How do you say that? Just want to be able to be vocal enough to say your thoughts and your mind and all of that. Then I will sit down and see where somebody says, "Oh, you are wrong in this particular statement you make," and then he begins to bash it. And I'm like, okay, but you say that this person is wrong too now. Like, so it's okay for you, but then it's not okay for another person to do that. Like,
people like that I call them commentators because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Or reactionists, or that's not a word, but they are reactors. They react. Yes.
Because commentators sound like they have sense.
Yes, they have sense, but no, they don't really have sense.
Yes, like yeah.
So they are more reactionists. A lot of them they lack, because the ability to be critical of somebody. For me, I feel you should be able to be critical of yourself. It goes both ways.
Yeah.
If you feel you have the ability to be critical of someone, people can criticize you as well. People can disagree with your take and tell you that what you said, they don't like it, and tell you reasons why they don't like it. Fine, there are people who will throw you, there are people who will make terrible comments. Fine, we all understand that. If you are a public figure and you don't have people that are bashing you or showing you, you're not perfect, actually. You've not started building your brand well enough. Because everybody cannot like you.
Yes.
Especially if you stand for something. You have strong principles and you stand for something.
And everybody cannot be your audience.
Because if you stand for something, there are definitely people that are against that thing you stand for.
True.
So you get trolls and all. But still, at the same time, you should be able to take actual criticism. If people are critical of what you are doing and criticizing, you should be able to take it. So people like that, they are always very terrible at taking criticism. And they always like to play victim.
Oh,
you bash them like this. They play victim, they can block you, turn off your account. It's fine. Most of the time on the internet, I'm more of an onlooker. I just look at people. Because...
But you know you do that in real life too.
Yeah, like I don't look at people when they are talking sometimes. I do it. Because you just be talking and just be saying things. I'm like,
yeah, power.
you just feel what you are saying makes sense to you. It's okay.
It's so interesting because most of the time these people for example, somebody sent me to Mabuchi's post one day and I said, I don't listen to this guy. Like I literally blocked him on what's it called, Instagram and Twitter. And I don't know why it popped up again. I was like, I don't know if Instagram helps
it's Instagram algorithm. Someone that follows you.
So I tried to remove, I told, you know how you say, okay, I don't want to see this person post any. Yeah, so, and then the person was like, oh, why? But what he's saying is, I'm like, I don't care about what he's saying. Like, most of the times, every time, he's always saying things to just trigger you. And I don't like people that are like that. Like, why are you always looking for how to trigger somebody?
Yes, a reaction.
What's the essence of, like,
is it to the Muslims a few months ago?
Wow. So, you see, people that do that a lot and that's their brand, I always feel like, these people will certainly be problematic in real life. And I always wonder, how do other people around them that have to deal with them on a daily basis, how do they manage that thing? Because
if someone is this triggering online, how can people around them?
Some people always say that. Oh, it's a different thing. Like it's different online. And I say it's a lie.
It's not.
I would say a friend. This guy was a friend, and I came on social media one time and he just kept on posting stuff that were untrue. I had to call his attention. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is happening? And then he was like, giving flimsy excuses, like talking nonsense because he was speaking ill of somebody else. And he had to, because the person didn't know, because the person didn't use Twitter, the person didn't use Twitter, so I had to bring the person's attention. And I'm not even one of those people that have like a lot of friends, but I always just know someone that knows someone. So I had to bring it to the person's attention through this person. And then when he found out, I was like, I don't understand this. I'm usually the kind of person that would fight for someone. So regardless of if it is towards me, I always think about like, what if it's my sister? I will break bottle on somebody's head. Like, what the hell is this? So when I brought it to the person's friend's attention, she was like, wow. And then she sent it to her. I was like, do you see how these things, we all have to like make conscious effort to make sure that these people don't continually be comfortable doing the things that they do. Just example, VDN and Very Dark Man. First few posts that became popular, that was the end.
I'm sorry,
I don't want
I'm
to
not
see
a
this person's
fan.
post anymore.
I was interested when it was calling out the skincare whatnot, because it's a menace that has to be addressed.
It was
after that he became the menace.
It was particularly the skincare.
I called him. I told somebody that was a fan of him. I said, the way this guy talks, his approach, he's going to become problematic very soon. The person said, no, he's going after. I said, yes, he's a good thing to go after.
Once he's done going after those things and he doesn't have anything to go after.
What will come? He's going to be a man. This guy is going to be a man. The way he talks, the way he addresses
You know,
things,
one thing people don't know is that social media is very addictive. And especially for people that have been, quote unquote, poor. This is, to be very honest, you've been poor and you've been unpopular. Or you just didn't fit the real life perception of
attention.
It will be so difficult for you to tone it down.
Especially when
it will be so
when
difficult.
you're not getting the numbers.
It will be so difficult.
Especially with an attention seeker.
It will be so difficult for someone to tell you, stop. Like, even if the person is your best friend and the person is they will tell you stop and you'll be like, do you know how many followers? Have they checked my this thing?
It doesn't even help that.
So you don't understand.
Also supporting him.
Thank you. It's so difficult. So it's not something that I can just sit down and say, no, I'm not giving anybody likes because I'm not going to help you grow. Like, take a chill pill. What's wrong with you? Like, yeah.
Another taboo topic that I wanted us to talk about. This one is probably going to extend into a much, much longer conversation, but let's touch it small. Childhood trauma. This thing where parents beat children. See, I won't lie, they beat me like a thief. It wasn't my parent though, my guardians. At a point in time, I have to shave my head so that the pharmacist can see space to touch my head. That's how bad it was. Now, we beat children and we beat people and we assume that we are molding them, turning them into better people for society. And every time this conversation springs up online, you see a lot of men, especially, even women, say, oh, my parents beat me, my father used to beat me, shege, they've used koboko, they've used wire, they've tied me to the wall, they've done everything to me, and I turned out, well.
Perfect. Not well, perfect.
But, and then I start thinking, and I think, my darling, are you sure you're okay? Like, did you actually turn out well? Because you actually behave like a master.
Even people that weren't flogged still have flaws, and they have
lots
of things that they have to deal with. Even things that they experience as adults. So now you are living in Nigeria.
Plus the one from the childhood.
You're the one from the adult. You're even living in Lagos. They now flog you. They did not tell you sorry. When they found out that you didn't do it,
then that person will now have a trauma of not apologizing or accepting they are wrong. See, I honestly feel like majority of us in this country are walking traumas.
Yeah,
I feel like
clearly we are.
I feel like once someone turns 18, they should be mandated to go for therapy.
Yeah, we are, because it's so obvious. If not, we wouldn't be where we are as a nation. Yeah, because I don't know anytime. Like when I was much younger, we first talked about being flogged, and my mom said she just don't like pain. I'm like, why? Why do you like pain? Oh my God! You just scared. I'm sorry. I don't understand. Why am I supposed to like it? I had to ask her, like, do you like when they flog you as a child? She said no, but you take. I said, take what? Why are you taking it? Why just coming to take it?
Reminds me of when I was in a bus. Going to work one time, and there was this girl, she should be like 14, 15, 16-ish, I couldn't really guess her age, and her mother, I don't know where they were going, and then the girl she put her head on this thing to sleep a little, and the mother was tapping her that why is she sleeping, and she said she's been complaining about pain, she's been having period pain like all day, and then the mom goes literally, I can't forget that statement, she said, na period pain, they make you, they do all this one. Wait till you can't do when you can't day in labor. No, you're supposed to manage this one so that the other one when they come, you go feel whole lamb. And I'm like, it's not the first time I've heard that particular statement, although it's in like a different context. But why is it that we always raise women to be so strong, to absorb everything, to absorb pain? You're in a terrible marriage, absorb it. You are in a terrible career path, absorb it. You're going through a lot in school, absorb it. You're being bullied, absorb it. You don't have good friends, absorb them. You have a terrible husband, absorb. Why?
Funny enough, I feel like it also happens with men. Let me give you an example. There was one time a guy, I think it was a pastor, he went to get a massage. It was on Twitter, I saw the story, and then he talked about how he went to get a massage and they were offering him happy ending, and he was like, no, and all of that. He didn't know that that's where, that's what they do in that sort of place. And then I was thinking in the comment section saying, make it us say no, like, I be the love relations.
Oh my God,
That's
yes. That's another topic.
So it's like people don't want you to say that because do you know that something that you like, oh, you don't like it.
Yes.
You like it now.
That's another
or like
topic
because they were able to beat me. Why can't you
Men's
take
childhood
it?
trauma.
You know, those things are just weird. I'm like,
How you're raised to see everything sexual as good. And anytime you say no to anything sexual, they make you feel like you're less of a man. Many boys went through like sexual traumas as young boys, but you should hear them tell you the story.
This particular thing is the reason why when you explain to them sexual abuse, they can't understand it. And it's so simple. It happened to me. And it didn't happen to me. Let me give you an example. It happened to me, and while I was growing up, I was made to chest it.
You were supposed to like it.
And be okay with it. And I know deep down I wasn't okay with it. I grow older, I've been able to accept it, and I've suppressed the feeling and internalized everything. And I grow older, and somebody that obviously doesn't look like me, which is a woman, says that something like that happened to her, and like, so
chest down.
Do you understand?
If you know
just how people it is.
Why you complaining?
Now say it happened to you years ago. Those people say, it's long. Forget it.
Why is it still the
Why is it talking about it?
Why are you talking about it now?
Now, why are you bringing it up now? It happened to you.
So there's a lot of childhood trauma that happens to a lot of us, and we want to explain, we want to express, and we want to say how it made us feel, but there's always pushback, you know, in one way or the other. It could even be in church, people that you really, really wish that they would have your back at the time when it happened. It won't be possible. So it's like something happens to you, and you were told that it's okay, or you let it, or blame yourself. It's your fault. And then you grow older, and then it happens to someone else, and you're like,
you pass the blame.
You did it. She was asking, like, what do you wear to class? I'm like, so in the end, I always feel like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Or justify it in a way that does not even sit your
ton of childhood trauma that people live with. And anytime you try to explain to even the people that hurt you, you end up hitting a dead end. So we're always like, oh, we need...
It reopens the wound again, because the person you're actually trying to have that conversation with, to tell this person why you did something, it's not even willing to hear
to accept it.
It also escalates into friendships as well. That was another topic on its own. Female friendship is crazy. It's crazy because we are people that are very introspective, but self-awareness has no gender, right? It's not about whether you're a man or a woman. You're either self-aware or you're not. Yeah. And when you're dealing with people that have been raised to internalize blame, the way women have been, it's so very, very hard. So... What that trauma reverts to is that you find it very hard to see where your fault is at. When you've been told that everything is your fault, for you to actually reflect and say, okay, this thing I did is not good, this thing I did is very hard. That's why you see that women are very defensive, right? Very, very defensive. So when it comes to female friendship, and you've told this person that, babe, this thing that you did, I didn't like it though, it hurt me like this.
For people that are not self-aware, you end up you end up hurting
So someone who isn't self-aware, explain this to them the worst thing.
It's very difficult.
But you did this too. I'm like, no, wait.
Yes. The first thing they will do is to try to find a way to apportion the blame to you and say, but you did this, or when you did this, I did not talk. When you did that, it's not my fault you did not talk. You reached my turn, I talk. So
and there's one thing that people used to say to me when I was much younger, even when I was in school, 100 level. And so the school would be like, you always want to be correct. I'm like, it's not my fault that you don't want to speak up. I don't know, like, maybe you should be talking more often. Say how you
want
feel.
To talk. I want to
talk, and you're complaining. Why are you complaining? Talk, open your mouth. Like, anytime I speak like this, I'm giving you the opportunity to see that you can. That's the truth. Like, every time I'm able to be very vocal and express myself, it's me communicating to the next person that you can as well. And you shouldn't wait for me to come and telling you no. And my siblings don't have to wait for me to tell them no. If it's pinching you, open your mouth
and talk about it.
Because nobody is supposed to die with the pain that they are feeling. You're not, no man's an island. You need help. You need somebody around you. And one thing I know for sure is that, for a fact rather, is that I can't keep those things in my mind. And that's the thing that eats me up way more.
Me too. I can't keep it in my mind. It has to come outside.
Sometimes I even have to have a rotate it, like the different people. I need to talk to at least 5 people about it. That's not on my chest. That's how bad it is. Imagine me not now telling anybody at all. We are in deep problems, so I'm not doing that.
I mean, this has been so insightful and very interesting. Thank you so much, you guys, for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Until another day, hopefully we get to sit down and have this conversation in a more broader form. And you guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube, and don't forget to share this to your friends and your family, and don't forget to also give us a review on our podcast to help us grow. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I will see you guys next week. Bye.